Hi, my name is Christopher May. It is May 24, 2021. I'd like to talk to you about the nervous system. It's been my favorite organ system since we started this class. Basically, with the, the conscious thought that's produced, the movement that we can produce through the nervous system, through the sensory receptors that we have, as well as the sensory centers in the brain. That has definitely been something that has really resonated with me over these past couple weeks. So basically, neurology is so integrated into so many parts of the body that doctors from all specialties will work with nerves or neurology at some point. However, if we're looking at who focuses on the nervous system specifically, it is the neurologists and it is the neurosurgeons. So the neurologists, what they do is they will treat problems of the nervous systems by non-surgical methods, whether it be through physical therapy or whether it be through medicine or just several different treatments. However, if we're looking at neurosurgeons, they treat a lot of these neurological problems with surgery, whether it being treating the brain, the spinal cord, or major nerves through surgery. So my favorite organ specifically is the brain. I just really liked how it integrated all these different systems, whether it be sensory or movement, in terms of emotions or chemical homeostasis through the hypothalamus. Just the sort of integration of a lot of the things we perceive and a lot of things we do go through the brain. So if we're looking at the brain in terms of location, it is superior to the spinal cord. It is deep and posterior to the frontal bone. It is deep and inferior to the parietal bones. It is deep anterior as well as superior to the occipital bone. If we're talking about the several landmarks that the brain has, we're talking about the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is a major portion of the brain where in the primary motor cortex, that's where our conscious thought is created. We can create and perceive speech in the frontal lobe, as well as in the frontal lobe. In the prefrontal cortex, we can develop abstract and conscious thought. That kind of what makes us human. Then we look at the parietal lobes that are behind the central sulcus, that are posterior to the central sulcus. These parietal lobes, what they do is they have a somatosensory portion where they perceive touch, pressure, temperature. They also perceive taste. It's just something where we can achieve conscious sensory of those specific senses. Then we have the inferior to the lateral sulcus, which separates the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, from the temporal lobe, is the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe basically perceives hearing and smell. And then if you look to the posterior part of the brain, there's the occipital lobe, and that perceives sight. And if we're looking a little bit deeper and more posterior to the cerebral cortex that I described, we look at the thalamus and the hypothalamus. So the thalamus is basically the intersection of a lot of those different sensory sensory centers, and as well as a lot of the motion sensors, or a lot of the motion from our premotor cortex that basically goes through the thalamus, and then hypothalamus, and maintains homeostasis on a chemical level via the pituitary gland. And I just like the brain because all these are interacting in milliseconds. in order to give us conscious thought, be able to give us movement that's regulated and fine-tuned, and allow us to perceive the world through various degrees of sensory. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.